If you are watching us live, welcome. I am setting up a couple monitors, and we will get things started and rolling. Thanks so much for joining. There we go. Sorry about my delay here. All right. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our live stream. We will be going over the accomplishments of January 2020 on ridetheteacups.com. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get things started. Really excited to show you some of the things that we've managed to accomplish this month. It has been busy, so very excited to show off several things. As we get started in here, we can see we've got a couple new blog entries that are up. The pin trading and the small world. Small world was last month, but pin trading showed up this month to basically help you out if you actually do want to trade your pins around. That's something that we suggest not doing in the parks. But if you do want to do it, there's a very cost-effective way of doing it, and how to get them, and how to display them, and everything. We go really all out for just kind of some tips and tricks to do it in a way that saves you some cash and gets everything moving correctly for you. So hopefully some time-saving tips for that. I hope you enjoy that. A couple of other things that we did is I updated my modal. I hated my modal. It was created one of the very first things that I created. It has needed an update for a while. I am very pleased with the new modal setup. I have my title, all of the content that's inside, the action buttons baked into the modal. I've actually styled up the buttons. I'll be doing a lot more general styling as well as we move on. But very pleased with the way that the modal looks and it gets going. So that was a really big deal. Some of the other things that we did were image, lots of enhancements on images. Um, so the way I had to implement my images before was, oh my goodness, was so obnoxious. I had to go through and manually update everything, basically. So I would have to manually update my image in my secure server, and then I would have to open up Photoshop in order to resize everything, make a thumbnail version. Then I'd have to go update that thumbnail version on my secure server as well, go through and make sure everything is actually publicly accessible, and then manually enter my database because I didn't have a controller yet to update the database entries for all of the images, and then they might show up if everything actually went as planned. That is wildly obnoxious. So I needed something better. So let me really quickly here show you what it is that I'm doing now. So if I get inside of here, let's add a new image to a blog post that I've got, and I will select an image. Have all of these images and things that are here, and it's all paginated exactly like you would normally expect. But now I have this cool Add New Image button. This is going to do is let me drag and drop things directly in. So let's say that I've got a folder here, and it has an image that I want. So I can just drag it from my computer into here. It sees exactly what it is. I can name it whatever it is that I want. Very old blog search page. Throw it in correctly. This is an early draft and should never be seen by anyone ever. It is not a header. It's not certainly not a background image. The source is me, so I won't worry about it. I created it. don't need or have a license for the image. We want to make sure we're always giving credit and using things appropriately. And then once that actually goes, hopefully we will load it. And let's see. There it is. Look at that. My image has been uploaded. I can select it and load it directly in from my server. So a couple of things to note. Not only did it upload everything correctly, updated my database that I can see it, but this is the thumbnail image. It also automatically resized it for me, threw it into the thumbnail directory, named everything appropriately, so that I could have a thumbnail version as well as the large version. So it did all of that for me on the fly, works with my search functionality. I am so happy with this uploader. I cannot describe it. Um, so the add new image, just drag and drop interface, super easy to use. Very, very pleased with the way that that turned out. Let's see other things that we worked on. If I'm exploring my back end of the site, the admin area. I have a new tile for my images now, so I can actually manage everything here. This is basically the same component you saw inside the modal. Now it's on a standalone with its own breadcrumbs and everything. I have the ability to add new images, exactly like you saw doing before. But now I can actually get into, say, this image here. It doesn't have a very good name, not terribly helpful. So this is a Mickey sketch, right? This is Mickey Mouse. No, his sketch of Mickey Mouse with a cool. That is a header. It's not a background. The source it's hanging on my wall, so I own it. And let's see if the demo is with me. Successful. Perfect. So as I go back, ooh, it renamed it for me. Look at that. So as I look for Mickey, remember it was called Art03 before, so Mickey wasn't there. So now Mickey is there. It has it didn't appear first anymore because it alphabetizes it by the name. So now the Mickey sketch is there. All of my information is there. It'll show me the bucket that it's in and the file name. Those are unchanged. I should not have the ability to change those from here. Um, but everything is there exactly like you'd expect. So very happy with the image uploader and editor that's also there. A couple other things that I did this month. I did some research on getting Amazon native ads to work correctly for me. So there's a couple of things that Amazon makes very easy for me that don't really work out the way that I want them to. So anyone with an Amazon affiliate account, this will look familiar. I will risk doing this. Let's look at these. There's a spoiler for you. You're going to see some cool stuff that you might want to get before you go visit the park. Like, these are super cool and way cheaper than you're actually going to spend in the park. If I want to create just a link for this, I can go up here and get a text or image, or I can do a text and image, and it'll generate this cool thing for me. And normally I just plug this code down here into the site. Just boom, we're done. Should be super easy. However, my site runs React, and this code does not work terribly well with React. So it's oh no, I'm sorry, not this code. This code is actually fine. It's many of the other ads that Amazon has um, run a script that go with it alongside. They're the native ads, and I don't actually want to get into here on my live stream. But the native ads generally run an image and a link, and then run a script behind it. And the script does a document.write command, which you cannot do after React has kind of had its way with the site. So generally, the short answer is they don't play well together. Amazon native ads and React don't play well together. So I've got a couple of workarounds for that. I have begun implementing things. Nothing is exactly usable just yet, but I have some components that are there. They're just not tested. But I've built them, and so you should be seeing those coming in the next little bit of time, just to make it a little easier for you to see what it is that I'm talking about when I suggest different things that'll help you out, like those things you should buy before the park. You can get, t-shirts for a few bucks instead of, spending $40 for a t-shirt in the park. So things like that, hopefully designed to help you out and get things going. So those are some of the major accomplishments for this month. Coming up in February, as I'm checking out my cheat sheet here. Next month, I am looking to actually implement those Amazon ads, of course, get those going. I do want to get that new blog published. The research for it is done, but I need to make sure I can get those things working and get that out to you so you can see some of the best souvenirs to get before the park. That mainly focuses on items you want to get before so that you can bring them to the park. So things, I mean, you saw the cool glow in the dark stuff. You want to wear that in the park, right? Like the glow in the dark ears and all that. Go to Disneyland after dark, and they'll be selling the glow stuff everywhere. You want that before you go so that you can bring it to the park with you. Things like T-shirts. When I get a T-shirt, I want to wash it before I wear it, and if I buy it at the park, I can't. So get your T-shirts early. Show out some of my favorite ones that'll save you some money. Look super cool or durable. And that you can wash before you bring them. Hats, things like that. I also want to, if there's time, create a video for pin trading because we had a lot of fun with that. And then my big ticket item is I'm going to be creating some assets for the weather. So right now, if I try to get into the weather section here, it's just coming soon. Go back home. That is boring. What I actually want to do with that section is I want to be able to tell you what the weather in Disneyland is going to look like in the upcoming week so that you can pack jackets or kill off the jackets and save the space in your suitcase depending on how things are going. Maybe go in shorts instead of long pants or vice versa depending on how hot it is, if it's expected to rain, those types of things. So um, really just want to help you plan your trip. The whole thing is about planning your trip to Disneyland stress-free, right? So that's a big deal. I'm also going to be using those weather assets as well as some other things, other graphics, other video setups and things to try to start a weekly show, which goes over exactly that kind of conditions of the park for the upcoming week, including the weather, but also what attractions are up, what are down, what are refurbished, what are back, what's kind of the any shows or parades or schedules or things that might be different than you normally expect. All of those things in just kind of a weekly things to expect in the park show. So I won't be starting the show next month, but I will be creating the assets for it so that I can start it hopefully in the spring. Generally, no spring break, and then of course leading into summer are the most popular times. So I want to try to get that going for you there and help out. So I hope that's all helpful to you as you plan your trip to Disneyland with your kids. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate all of the support that you guys give. Also looking at enhancing things like the Patreon so that we can what we can, if you want to support the channel, we'd really appreciate it. I want to make sure that you have the avenue to do that best. And then I also received, I think I showed you guys last month, received our pins and received our stickers, at least the first rounds of them. So that is incredibly exciting, and we want to get those to you through a couple of contests that'll be coming up, and then also it has Patreon rewards just for Patreon members. So be watching for that. Thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that. Like the video. Hope that you found this useful. And if nothing else, we will see you again next month. Thanks so much for watching. I don't know how to stop the video. Somebody tell me how to stop the stream. Ah, thank you. There it is. Big red button. I found the big red button. Bye, guys.